Here we have the singularity. The singularity of singularities. Though it appears for you now symbolically as the starting point, the Big Bang, everything everywhere all at once, and a singularity, a single point, much like a black hole. The entirety of all existence and infinity collapsing on itself into a singular, infinitely dense point. Each page of this wax paper, tracing paper, I only had 4, so I can't really get too much into it with my examples. But across a veil, as you can see, beyond this veil into the previous one, that's the same singularity. Entangled and intimately connected, and also existing of its own accord, which brings into existence the event horizon, or the universe itself, duality, which does not exist. This bending of light, which essentially is delusion and illusion. There is a sense of separation from the singularity, the source, by this veil. But it's more like a layer on top of it. Now, though this is 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional, you have to imagine where we're going to go with this. Infinitely dimensional. I don't know if you've ever seen a 100-sided dice or geometric shape to even begin to try to grasp an infinitely dimensional shape. And that is just in one dimension, meaning taking into consideration multidimensionality, including timelines and potentialities and possibilities, all omnipresent at the same time. But let's slow down. Within this delusion of duality, which is directly a result, and it exists because of its connection to the source. It's coming from, like everything, as the word source suggests, everything is coming from source. So when whoever talks about something dualistic, like evil, or Yaldabaoth, or anything within duality, these things are not a mistake. These things are directly existing because they come from the source itself. The source is in this, as this is in the source. The only thing separating them is the illusion of duality itself. A thin veil of perspective and even consciousness. Now, in this duality, we have evidence of that. The source itself, the divine flame, the awakened one, whom is a fractal of the whole, the totality, identified as the human being within the duality, within all of this bending light. Your consciousness, your intention, the piece of your sacred flame, so to speak, your intention, is taken on this dense human form within the duality, within this physical dimension of the universe. But still, if you look closely, now we have two veils. It's hard to see in this light, but back there 2 sheets ago, still connected to source. Again, this only exists because of the source, because of its connection to source. This also is not a mistake. There is no separation, just a veil of illusion, of perspective, of intelligent remembrance, beyond the mind of a three-dimensional form, beyond the mind of a spark. Let's go back 2 pages. That's all this is. It's a singularity that ignited into a light. The bending lights appear to each individual perspective as this spectrum of density, which, living as the human being, identified as the human being, completely ignorant of what we were, what we are, what's going on, led by a culture and a society of human beings who are identified as human beings. What you see is what you get. A dense spectrum of vibration, which scientists are trying to tell you through observing under magnification that this density of your human body is simply a definition to your senses of a spectrum of vibration, tune, pitch of your intention, which is your energy. And this one was just I only had 4 pages, so I couldn't really get that into it. This is just you connected without identifying as the ego. This is the awakened state, one of them. This entire field of consciousness, once you realize that the individual is operating in ego as a human, that the source is just as intimately connected to you now as it was the moment there was a Big Bang. The moment the third dimension was breathed into life. There's no separation. There's no accident. There's no mistake. The people whom are here, who are completely uninterested in identifying with the ego, these billionaires who culture and the third dimensional way of life idolizes as something grand, these people are exploiting human beings. They are the problem. And we who support this are also the problem. We who idolize it are the problem. This place, there are those sleeping. There are those somewhat awake. And those whom have awakened and think they cannot awaken further. You must keep going. You're exactly where you need to be. And so is everyone else. Just be what you are. Say your piece, and let the pieces fall where they may. We don't have to fight what was always going to happen.